All right.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do a little plot review, okay? I know you guys have learned a little bit about this, but we're gonna go ahead and just continue. So, while I teach this, I want you guys to think of yourselves on a roller coaster, okay? I want you to think about everything you see in the beginning, how you feel when you're going up the hill, going through a loop, going through everything all the way till the very end, okay? And I'll kind of explain how to feel like that throughout this. Are you ready? All right, so first, obviously plot. If you'll go ahead and hit the next slide. So, the first thing that you see when you're learning plot is the exposition, right? So if you think about a roller coaster, this is like the beginning part. You take off from the little barn thing they have. I don't know what it's called, but you know, the takeoff point where the line starts, right? And you look around on the track. You see the metal track. You're probably going, oh gosh, like what did I get myself into? Oh no. Or you're probably like, yeah, let's go, right? Mm-hmm. But also, do you ever find yourself looking at like maybe everything around you besides the track? Like maybe mom's up in the watch stand wanting to take a picture of you, or maybe you're looking around the rest of the park, right? Trying to figure out what's going on. Well, that's kind of like exposition. This is the beginning of the story, where you're introduced to your characters and you're introduced to kind of where the story takes place. And if you like our little gif. And so it begins over here. So, yeah. So, just basically the very beginning. Think of, you know, what's going on. How do we know where the story starts? What's about to take place, right? If you'll hit the next slide for me. And then just keep going, yeah. So, after we reach our exposition, right, we're going to go to rising action. You know the hill on a roller coaster, you're going up? Just imagine that, you're going up really slowly. Your anxiousness is starting to build, all right? You're getting a little nervous. Maybe you're shaking. Maybe you're getting really excited, right? This is like how the obstacles in a story would appear to you, okay? It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you getting ready and getting excited for the next part, the main part of the story to come. And I kind of like to refer to it as a little bit of a character obstacle course, if that makes any sense to you guys, because it's sometimes little conflicts that the character has to jump over to get to the next thing, right? All right. So, and as you're going up this hill, I like to explain these gifs to you guys because they're kind of funny. You could either be like me, acting as Kevin Hart, going, oh gosh, get me out of here, right? Or you could be like Jimmy Fallon and be like, yeah, let's go, right? Okay. So, yeah. Could you hit the next slide? And then just one more over here. So now, we're at the climax. This is the big point. This is the turning point. Y'all said this earlier. This is the main part of the story. Or else, where else would there be a story, right? Exactly. This is what keeps it interesting. Okay? This is when the turning point of the story is faced. So, you're at the top of the hill of the roller coaster. Probably looking down, you're going, oh my gosh, what is this, right? Looking around, getting ready for that excitement, getting ready for all the craziness that's about to come. Then, if you'll hit the next two slides for me. Then, you fall. You're on the roller coaster, you're going down the hill, you're like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy over here, going crazy, right? Just like in the story. I think of it almost kind of like the reverse of the rising action. Now, it's the falling action. We're about to go through some obstacles to solve the main part of the story, okay? What does the character do to solve the issue or to kind of get past the big point of the story, to get to the end, all right? Big old loopy down. All right, next two slides. Then, as you continue on, you get to the resolution, the final part. If you're like me on a roller coaster, you're like, oh, thank goodness that's over with, and now we don't have to do it again, right? Or you're probably going, if you're not like that, probably going, let's do it again, right? How many of you are, thank gosh, it's over? Not very many. Hey, you all are my people over here. I'm just kidding. And how many of you are, yeah, let's go again? I like it. Yeah, so this is the end of the story, right? This is how, like, we come to our big happy ending, all right? So, yeah, that's it. And if you guys like my little gif over here, it's, who's seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or what is it, Day Off or something like that? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, okay. So it says in the last credit scene, it says, "It's over. Go home." I just thought I should put that in there because it's kind of funny, you know? Because that's how I am at the end of the roller coaster. I'm just saying. But yes, this is the end of the story. Your happy ending, you know, the prince and the princess ride off in the sunset, or, you know, if you're like watching Rapunzel, she finds her family and stuff like that. All right? So now, if you look at the handout that I passed out in front of you, you're going to see it's a roller coaster, right? Because I just explained to you how this roller coaster happens in a plot. So is it okay if I turn this off?
Of course.
Okay.
Hey, I can do it.
Oh. Okay. Yes.
I can get one.
You didn't get one? Oh, let me grab you one. I'll change you. So Miss Erickson's going to give you one. All right, I'm going to draw my roller coaster up here for you. Okay? So you're going to see this first little box right here. This is your exposition. Before you start thinking about anything, there's a little like white margin down here. In this area, I want you to think about your favorite movie or your favorite book. Or you could think about your favorite TV show and like your favorite episode in that show. Okay? And I want you to write the name of that in here. Okay? So, who's seen Encanto? Has everyone seen it or like know of it?
The movie slaps.
It is a good movie. It is a good movie. Okay, what about Tangled? Has everyone seen Tangled? Okay, so the majority have seen Tangled. If not, it is out on lots of streaming services. Highly recommend. It's my favorite movie. But, okay, so let's say I'll do Tangled, all right? I'm just going to show you how I want this assignment done. So you'll write your movie or whoever down here, right? Then you're going to go to your exposition first. I want at least like maybe 2 to 3 sentences. They don't have to be extremely long, just enough to get your point across. So in the beginning of Tangled, what do you think the exposition is? Kenley.
The characters are Rapunzel, her
Evil stepmother-ish.
the witch.
The witch. Yeah, so her kidnapper, yeah, there you go. So we're introduced to Flynn Rider, Rapunzel, and we kind of see how Rapunzel is kidnapped in the beginning and taken to her tower, where she spends most of her life in as a young adult, right? Yeah. So for this first part, I would write maybe we're first shown the episode I'm losing my words. I'm so sorry, y'all. We are first shown a scene of Rapunzel and how she becomes kidnapped. Okay, so we see Rapunzel getting kidnapped. Okay, and you can definitely make it shorter than this. And it's okay to write outside the box too. I know those are tiny boxes, but just as long as you get your point across. And then for my next sentence, I could say, we see Flynn Rider robbing the palace for the crown, right? So we see Flynn Rider robbing the palace. Okay, and that should be enough to kind of give you an intro to the characters. Next, you're going to see your rising action box. I'm going to put that down here. Okay, your rising action. For those who may have seen the movie, what do you think one of these events could be in the rising action? Yes.
Rapunzel escapes her tower.
Rapunzel escapes her tower, right? Yes, Kenley.
Her mom asked her to go she asked her mom if she can go outside, and she said yes.
Yeah, she asked her mom, I think it's to, like, for some paints, right? She asked her mom for some paints. Mom says no, and then Flynn Rider comes along and they escape the tower, right? They go to, what is the Ugly Duckling?
Yeah.
The little
bar.
Yeah, they go to the Ugly Duckling, they meet all of their new friends, right? So I would say for this, it starts with Rapunzel wants to leave the tower. wants to leave the tower. And Flynn Rider helps her escape. Alright, so now, Rapunzel's escaped. She's gone to the Ugly Duckling, she's met her friends. Now we get to the climax. Does anyone know what the climax might be? Remember, this is the turning point. What makes the characters question everything? Or, kind of a little hiccup in the story. Yes?
Her mom finds her on the boat scene.
Yeah, her mom comes and finds her when she starts falling in love with Flynn Rider, right? She starts falling for her Prince Charming, and then the mom comes along. What's the song she sings? Anybody? Yes.
Mother's know best.
Mother knows best, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, I know best, you're wrong, and I'm right, right? Tries to scare Rapunzel to come back to that tower,
Oh, yeah.
right? And Rapunzel starts doubting herself. She's like, whoa, like, is she right? Because she sees Flynn Rider, or supposedly Flynn Rider, he's just kind of knocked out on the boat, right? He's just kind of chilling because the other two guys who he's with earlier, knocked him out. But Rapunzel starts to doubt herself, right? She's like, hey, maybe mom is right. Maybe mother does know best, right? So I would write Mother Gothel tries to scare Rapunzel. And I would say also, she sees Flynn Rider sleeping in a boat and wants to go home. Okay? She sees Flynn Rider sleeping in a boat and wants to go home. Or sleeping / knocked out. You could say that too. In a boat and wants to go home. So now we get to our falling action. All right, remember, this is where we see all these obstacles that the character tries to get through to get past this main point, right? So what do we think that might be? Does anybody know? This one's a tough one. What do we see? Yes?
They break into the prison.
They break into the...
Flynn tries to escape the prison.
Flynn tries to escape prison because he got caught. If you watch the movie, again, I highly recommend. It's really good.
Are these like spoilers? Yeah, this is entirely spoiler movie. How dare you?
Well, this is a movie that's been out for like
Forever.
forever, yeah.
Everybody had to watch
It's okay. It's okay. If you haven't seen it, I do apologize for spoilers, but you may forget by the time you get home. So go watch it. It's really good. I'm not giving you all the details. I'm just giving you what the trailer would give you.
I think everybody's
Yes.
yeah.
Rapunzel goes back out of the tower because she thinks the lamps are for her birthday, and so she gives
Well, she figures that out, right? She figures out she's the princess, right? She's like, I'm the princess. And Mother Gothel's saying, how'd you figure that out? And then tries to keep her in the tower, right? So then what happens?
She does because she
Well, she tries, but does she actually? No.
What?
Yes.
Don't she like drop off her hair?
That's at the end. Yes. Yeah.
When Rider comes up the tower and he's cutting her hair.
Flynn Rider comes up to try to rescue Rapunzel, right? So for the falling action, I would write Rapunzel figures out she's a princess, or the missing princess. Because remember, she was kidnapped in the movie, right? So she's missing. All right? And then Flynn Rider tries to save her, right? I did forget to include this, but do you all know the magic hair and all that?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to just make sure you knew that. Flynn Rider tries to save her. Okay, so you know, that would probably fall in more of like falling action when, or not falling action. That would fall more into your rising action when they get into trouble. You know, she has like her magic hair that heals him or tries to save him. That would also fall into there. I forgot to explain that, so my apologies. Okay, so yes, Rapunzel figures out she's the lost princess. Flynn Rider tries to save her, right? And you know, Mother Gothel is not having it, right? So I would also write maybe Mother Gothel tries to stop her. And if you can't figure out like the name of, let's say you did do a princess movie and you can't figure out the name of the villain, just, you could put like the occupation they play in the movie, like the evil stepmother or the wicked witch, something like that, okay? Just as long as you're able to make it somewhat clear, okay? Mother Gothel tries to stop them. Oh. All right, then we come to our ending, the resolution, okay? Resolution. So what happens in the end? Finley, and then I'll come to you, Johnny.
Well, first the mom cuts off her hair, and then after that she finds her, like she goes back to find her family.
Yes, you're almost right. So it's not the mom that cuts off her hair. Johnny, what were you gonna say? What?
It wasn't the mom cut off?
It's not the mom. Aslan, I haven't heard from you yet.
Flynn Rider cut his hair.
Flynn Rider! Because Mother Gothel tries to stop them, right? This is part of her falling action. She's like, you're not getting Rapunzel. She's staying here with me. I need her magic hair to keep me young and beautiful, right? Yes.
And then Mother Gothel falls out of the tower and dies.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Well,
she
she dies.
disappears.
She like vanishes in the
Yeah.
air. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would write something like this. I would write Flynn Rider cuts Rapunzel's hair. And then Mother Gothel falls out of the tower and vanishes. Okay, so I'd write that. Mother Gothel falls and vanishes. And then I would also write, what's my last little detail? Does anyone remember? Kenley?
Rapunzel finds her family.
She finds her family. Rapunzel finds her family, and they live happily ever after. So,
Wait, didn't her mom eat magic beans?
yes, that's also part of the beginning. You were correct. Did you say that?
Yes.
Yes. So that is correct. That was also something you could put in your exposition, right? Your introduce. Actually, that's a good point. Good job. You caught me there.
What happened?
So, I forgot to say this too, and I apologize, but that's a really good point. When we meet Mother Gothel in the beginning, she eats that, or she tries to keep that magic plant that keeps her young, right? But then the mom gets sick. So that's how we're also introduced, right? This is the reason why Rapunzel gets kidnapped. Because the mom gets sick, gets pregnant with Rapunzel, and then Rapunzel has the powers from that plant. Right? She drank from the water they made with the plant, taking it away from Mother Gothel. And she drank it, and then Rapunzel was born with those powers. And when she tried to cut her hair, it turned brown, right? And it was no longer magical. So, therefore, she kidnapped Rapunzel. So that is another detail you could include, okay? This is stuff you need to think about, but that was a really good point. Good job. Okay, so yeah, Rapunzel finds her family in the end, and they live happily ever after. Okay? Does anyone have any questions about this? Okay, so kind of like what I did up here, for the next 5 to 8-ish minutes, I want you to think about your favorite movie, book, or TV show. And I want you to write your points in those plots. I want full-length sentences. They don't have to be crazy long. But between 2 to 3 sentences, try to come up with a plot and all the parts that go in it. All right, and if you have questions, you can raise your hand and I will come and help you. All right, how am I right now? Okay, I will come to you after I get him.
I thought we were supposed to write this down on the page right like that.
Did you write it? I can give you another copy, okay? But you can keep that for example, okay? Yes.
I thought you only wrote the setting characters and an explanation.
Yeah, that's kind of how do you see that in the show or movie, whatever. How do you see it is what I want you to get at. Okay? So, did you have a question? No? Okay. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and I will come by and I will help you as best as I can. And you have about 5 to 8 minutes, all right? So, and I'll leave this up here if you guys need to come back and look at it, okay? All right. And let me get you an extra copy, okay? I'm glad you took notes though, so now you have that for reference for the future. There you go.